Hello, everybody. Today we are going to begin talking about the history of Hinduism, and there are questions at the end of this document to answer as well. And so that will be your assignment for today, is to answer those questions once you have read the article. If I were you, when I'm reading articles like this, I sometimes will scroll down to the end of the article and find the questions, and I'll just go ahead and read through the questions first. And that way, when I go back, I can be thinking about the questions and not have to read the whole thing, go read the questions, and then go back and reread it all again. Whatever works best for you, but that's just a tip so that you can easily find the answers. So if I were you, I'd take a second, read these questions here at the end, and then as we go through the reading, kind of listen for those questions as well. So I am going to go ahead and do a read along for this for you though, so you can go ahead and scroll to the top of your page whenever you're ready, and I'll start reading. Hinduism is so old that no one knows exactly how it began. Most scholars think that it began about 3,000 years ago near the Indus River of northwestern India. It spread across India and then to the rest of Asia. Even though some Asian countries later made Islam or Buddhism their state religion, Hinduism is still the major religion of the people of India. Colorful roadside shrines and the tinkling of temple bells in Asia are constant reminders of Hinduism. Hinduism has no original founder and no single holy text. The first Hindu teachers were called Brahmins. They passed down the teachings of Hinduism through oral stories at first. Later, the stories became the Rig Veda, which was written down in 1500 BC. These teachings may have come from a people called the Aryans, whose language may have been the predecessor of Sanskrit. The Aryans were nomadic warriors who dominated northern India between 3000 and 1500 BC. Later, they moved down into southern India where they met powerful local tribes. We don't know a lot about the Aryans because they left no cities behind for archaeologists to study. These nomads finally settled near the Ganges River around 400 BC. In the centuries before the birth of Christ, a mysterious author or authors or authoress or authoresses wrote two important Hindu scriptures, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Both of these epic poems tell stories involving kings and conflicts. They convey many truths in entrancing poetic form. During these centuries, India was divided into kingdoms that were ruled by rich princes. A certain order of society in India was firmly established. This became known as the caste system, and it was based on another ancient Hindu text called the Bhagavad Gita. The legend said that out of the mouth of a god came the scholars and priests. Rulers and warriors came from the god's arms. From the god's thighs came the merchants and farmers. The servants and laborers came from the god's feet. A last group called the untouchables performed some of the most menial labor in society, such as cleaning bathrooms and sweeping the streets. The caste system dominated India's society for centuries. Hindus thought that if they earned good karma, they would be born into a higher caste in their next life. Some Hindus believed that this system helped their society run well for hundreds of years. They believed that it made things easier because everyone had certain duties to perform. If you were born into the laborer caste, you were expected to work with your hands. Those who opposed this system said that it was wrong because people's abilities were not always inherited. The caste system still influences Indian society today. In addition to the caste system, Hindus lived by a code of ethics written down by an Indian sage named Patanjali. He lived in about 200 BC, and he wrote a list of 5 things that people should do and 5 ways in which people should exercise restraint. The things people should do are called niyamas and include being pure in body, mind, and speech. The yamas are what people should not do and include lying and stealing. His ideas became important elements of daily life, but no one forced Hindus to follow these rules. Hinduism is not a religion of force. It was not spread through conquest or aggression. By its very nature, Hinduism is fluid and tolerant of many types of spiritual paths. Hinduism advocates achieving one's spiritual potential, but recognizes that there is more than one way to accomplish this goal. Instead, it focuses on the spirit rather than rigid rules or ceremonies. Its history does not have dramatic battle scenes or massive conversions, and Hinduism reached its height around 350 AD in what was called its Golden Age. Hinduism's recognition of the spirit behind all things is evident in the wistful words of the Bhagavad Gita. Never the spirit was born, the spirit shall cease to be never. Changeless the spirit remains, birthless and deathless forever. Hindus faced domination by other peoples during their long history. Two examples of this were the Muslim invasion of India in the 8th century and the control of India by the British until the early 20th century. During the 8th century, Hinduism faced several challenges. Islamic invaders destroyed many temples and villages in northern India and tried to introduce Islam. In spite of these invasions, most Hindus still clung to their religion rather than convert. Unfortunately, many Hindus suffered under the Muslim conquerors through excessive taxation and persecution. Hinduism survived because it was not just a belief system, it was a way of life for the Indians. Hinduism survived under different Mughal emperors, partly of the idea of bhakti, or devotion, and surrender to a particular god. This attitude enabled the Hindus to endure their persecution. In spite of many hardships, some elements of Islam and Hinduism intertwined in a positive way. Islamic art and architecture became common in India, and many Muslims also adopted Hindu art and culture. Another example of external domination of the Hindus occurred during the British control of India from the 17th to the early 19th century, to the early 20th century, The word Hinduism was first used in the early The word Hinduism was first used in the early 1800s. Christian missionaries came to India to convert the Hindus to Christianity. While the missionaries were sincere in their efforts, they were not sensitive to ancient Indian culture, and their message was not received well. During this time, other reformers advocated positive change and growth in some elements of Hinduism. Two important reformers were Ramakrishna, a 19th century teacher, and Mahatma Gandhi, the leader of the independence movement of India in the early 20th century. Gandhi used many ideas from the Bhagavad Gita in his life's work. India became independent in 1947 and became a secular country. Hinduism is still practiced by 80% of the Indian population and has about 800 million followers worldwide. Nepal is the only official Hindu state, but the influence of Hinduism is seen everywhere in Southeast Asia. Some ideas from Hinduism, such as karma and reincarnation, show up in movies and late-night television. As one comedian says, "Don't worry, if you don't believe in reincarnation this time around, you'll get another chance." And so now we have the questions here at the end. Number 1 asks, which ancient people were the possible originators of Hinduism? The Asians, the Sumerians, the Aryans, or the Shivans? Number 2 asks, what is the name of the social structure of India in the past? The hierarchy, the pecking order, the social ladder, or the caste system? Number 3 asks, which of the following are true statements about Hinduism? Check all that apply. Make sure that you check every single one that you can find in the reading. We know exactly when Hinduism began. Hinduism has more than one sacred text. Hinduism is an aggressive religion. The Rig Veda was an ancient Hindu prophet. Number 4 asks, who wrote down the Hindu code of ethics? Buddha, King Indra, Gandhi, or Patanjali? Number 5 asks, which country controlled India in the I saw the number 6. Which country controlled India in the 19th century? Russia, China, the United States, or Britain? Number 6 asks, what is the antonym of the word secular? Religious, cultural, political, or worldly? Antonym means opposite. What is the official religion of the country of India today? It is a secular state, Islam, Buddhism, or Hinduism. And number 8 asks, who was the leader of the independence movement in India? Paul Revere, Ramakrishna, Gandhi, or Patanjali? And then there are 2 short answer questions. Just do your best to answer these. These aren't explicitly written in the article. They're asking you to think about the article and then form your own opinion and support your opinion. So please write these in sentences so that I can understand what your formation of your opinion is. Do you think the caste system is a valid system today? Why or why not? How would you feel if you had to live under the caste system? So it's asking you to think about the caste system that they talked about in the article, about how the different castes work. And, they talked about the warrior class and the merchants, and there were the untouchables even. So do you think that you would want to live under that caste system? And tell me why or why not. And then the last question says, do you think it is a good idea that India decided to become a secular country rather than adopting a certain religion? Why or why not? So India becomes a secular country, which means that Hinduism is not forced upon people. And so is that good or is that bad? And then explain to me why or why not. Okay, so that is the lesson for today. So go ahead and answer these questions and get this submitted, please. And thank you, and have a nice rest of your day.